My name is Jason Mastupa, and today I'm going to be talking about how to protect your brain in the modern day of social media and the internet. Now, you might be asking yourself, what do you need to protect your brain from? Well, every day we are bombarded from constant amounts of media, pictures, movies, phone calls, texts, all of these internet distractions and online distractions that take us away from reality. And when this happens, a lot of times people who make these advertisements or these movies will cater it to your brain to try and make you associate a good feeling or certain feelings to what they're trying to show on the screen. An example would be like an alcohol commercial that's catered to guys that shows women or trucks or whatever just guys like with this product. So that way your brain sees these things that we like, it turns it into dopamine, and then our brain subconsciously through neurotransmitters turns that into associating it with their product. And this happens with girl products, this happens with guys products, car commercials, everything. And they know this and they try and cater to our brains. So researchers and psychologists call when this goes too far this effect of dopamine being rushed to your neurotransmitters a dopamine feedback loop. Now these can be either positive or negative, but mostly, and what I'm going to be talking about today, they're negative, and I'm going to talk about how to avoid them with the do's, the don'ts, and the benefits of avoiding a negative feedback loop and how to catch yourself when you're in one. So some of the don'ts: too much TV. TV can be a great thing. We all love to watch football. We all love to love our favorite shows. But what TV can do is it takes our perception of the real world and distorts it. And it takes the natural incentives that we have to go out into the real world and puts it into the television screen. So allow me to explain. When you go out and you meet somebody and you form a relationship, dopamine and other drugs are sent to your brain that you did something good. So you're out in the real world forming real relationships, getting real positive feedback from your brain. What TV does is it puts those things in front of you simulated on a screen. So you're getting dopamine, you're getting that same feeling, but you're on your couch. Okay, that's why these things are so enjoyable. So the more you can avoid that, the more you will take yourself out of that distorted reality and into kind of the real world. And the same, and possibly the biggest one, and the one that no one talks about, would be porn use. I know it's controversial, I know it's, doesn't get talked about, but 25% of everything searched on Bing, Yahoo, and Google, according to Google, is porn related. Okay, so the internet is being flooded with porn, whether we talk about it or not, and it is being watched every day by men and women equally, and it is distorting our brains in severe ways and creating these negative dopamine feedback loops. So the same idea and concept that we have with television, that when we see something and we associate a good feeling with it and dopamine gets rushed to our brains, we end up doing the same thing with porn, except it can become very addictive. And this is known by a lot of people, but it's not necessarily talked about. Porn, when you watch it, obviously when both men and women orgasm or watch porn or have any sort of feeling associated with it, dopamine and other neurological transmitters get flooded through the brain. But the problem is that this isn't real. You're taking something that's on the internet and your brain is associating it now with reality and real life, and you lose incentive to meet real people, and your vision of what sex is and what your own sexuality is gets distorted. Researchers say and psychologists say that when you get into a negative feedback loop with porn, testosterone levels go down in men, estrogen goes down in women, aggressiveness goes up in both, you lose energy, and you lose the incentive for real world connections. So porn is definitely something to avoid if society wants to be more intact with the real world. Next, and this is associated with porn and too much TV, is violence. This could be violent movies that give you a positive response to seeing violent images or doing violent things. And also, mainly with porn, it gives you an unrealistic perception of reality. So, you might be, however much experienced you are, your perception of what sex is and sexuality is in relationship to people gets distorted by porn. So now we're going to talk about ways you can mitigate some of these negative advantages of dopamine being released to your brain. And that's moderation. Okay, enjoying TV in moderation, enjoying just everything in moderation, not spending too much time away from reality, which leads to real world engagement, pursuing real goals, real relationships with people that can get you on the right track to positive dopamine feedback loops, things that you want to go out and meet people and be in the real world. And the benefits of this, you enjoy things more, your senses get heightened, your testosterone goes up in men, estrogen goes up in women. Your alertness, your mental fog kind of lifts. You're no longer kind of on that gloomy fog where your brain is kind of an in-between state and it's become dependent on TV and porn, and that's all you can really think about. And better connections, you'll start seeing yourself being more in touch with the people who you care about because you're not so dependent on these things and you're more dependent on the real world. So those are kind of my reasons why we should kick back on the internet and focus more on real life, and why people should be aware of what's going on when they watch certain things, especially at young ages, and how it affects our brain. So thank you very much.